Hello and welcome back to the Autobiography Podcast, where today I want to talk about how recently I've started reframing my thoughts and sort of changing the way I think about things and sort of approach a situation. So, reframing your thoughts. I've realised recently that I've stopped just like in a situation such as a couple of weeks back, we were driving home. Dad was driving, I was passenger, and we were approaching a roundabout. We knew that you had to be in the right-hand lane, and then, because it was the third exit, people tend to not be in the right-hand lane, and someone cut us up. So Dad blew his horn, and we didn't think much of it after that. And we're driving along, road opens up, and the sign says 300 yards, road closing in, and the car in front goes to overtake, and then doesn't because it's 150 yards. So they cut back in, going along, road opens up, Dad shoots on ahead. And then all of a sudden, pull back in, all of a sudden, comes shooting past the car behind that was originally in front of us, and then pulls in front, slows back down. And we're like, what? And then gets to the next roundabout, they're all over the shop. Dad's like, bloody idiot. And I'm like, maybe. Or, let's take a step back and let's reframe it. First roundabout, Dad blew his horn for the car behind. Maybe the car in front thought we were blowing our horn at them because they slowed down a bit originally. Okay, that's one reason they might get a bit frustrated with us, or might be a bit frustrated as such. And then they went to overtake and failed, shall we say, and then we shot past them. Whoa, we've blown our horn at them to have a go at them, and then we've shot past. They might not be particularly happy with us, so they overtook us, and then they might have been frustrated with us, or maybe not. And then at the roundabout, they might not know where they're going. They were weaving in between lanes. So instead of, and I know I still do this from time to time, get frustrated and then sort of correct myself as such. It's easy to just go, oh, they're a dick, it's their fault, and then feel a bit of anger, like, oh, bloody idiot. Well, let's try and reframe it, because maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they misinterpreted the horn and us overtaking. So it's a matter of just taking a second from your initial sort of emotion of, anger or, frustration, and going, okay, shit happens. Let's just take a minute, maybe think about past events, or, okay, maybe they're just having a bad day. It's a simple sort of cover over. But obviously, if something keeps happening with somebody and they are somewhat targeting you, maybe a bit different. This is one situation, but in another situation, should we say, you're walking out the shop and you go to step out on the pavement, you're not 100% focusing, car cuts in front. They might pull up in front of you and say, oi, what are you doing? And you could then go, well, you bloody idiot, you shouldn't be driving so quickly. Or, okay, I'm sorry, it's my fault. And you diffuse the situation. Instead of escalating it, you diffuse it. It might have been their fault, it might have been your fault. Might be a combination of they were driving a bit quick and you weren't 100% focusing. But if they do pull up and go, you're a fucking idiot, and then drive off, instead of going, fucking dickhead, maybe go, okay, maybe I shouldn't have stepped out. Maybe they were going quite quick. Maybe they were just having a bad day and they were in a rush. Instead of getting angry in either situation, you somewhat feel sympathetic for the person and not take pride in the fact that, you've turned the situation from a negative, feeling anger and negative feeling and then turning it into something positive, but more taking a breath is easier than feeling that, initial negativity and taking it with you for the rest of the day. You just sort of almost diffuse the situation there and then, and it's dealt with. You might want to rant about it to your partner, but if you keep the negativity thought of, oh, they're a bloody idiot, they're driving around, you then sort of almost spread that negativity to your partner. They might help you diffuse it, or you can turn it into oh, you'll never guess what happened today. I went to step out on the pavement, bloody car cut in front of me. No. Then called me a bloody dickhead. Like, have a bit, you're still talking about it, the negativity, but in a sort of playful way, because you've diffused the negativity there and then you're talking about it casually, like, oh, bloody stepped out on the pavement, dickhead pulled out in front of me because he's driving too quick. You might not want to take the blame all the time, because that could lead to a spiral of like, oh, it's always my fault, and it might not be your fault, but who knows? It's there. You've gone through it. It's happened. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's taking a negative situation, and I have used 2-car situations, taking a negative situation and trying to find, should we say, the light in the situation, or simply trying to diffuse it to make it as sort of less negative and more sort of, okay, shit happens in life. Let's either, if it is your fault, shall we say, you've stepped out on the pavement, all right, let's try not to do that again. Or, you can't help it sometimes, can you? You're talking to a friend, or you notice something, nice car goes by, ooh, and then crap, step in front of a car. So it's just, reframing the way you think. Like, if you're having a bad day, okay, today was shit, this happened, and trust me, I've had this quite a few times. Like, really bad day, and you're like, okay, this happened, whatever, this happened, I shouldn't have done this, I won't do it again, or I'll do it differently next time. And I had a really bad day, actually, I think maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, oh, for God's sake, I'm trying out my absolute best to try and stay as positive as possible, and the world just keeps throwing shit at me. This goes wrong, dropped a bit of wood on my foot, and, the PC wasn't working, and exporting a file, and I was like, oh, for God's sake. Next day, I don't know what happened, must have seen 2 magpies together, picked a coin up or something. Bliss, absolutely amazing. Everything started working again, and just felt amazing. And then yesterday, Friday, day went back to normal. It was almost as if, I had a really bad day, and then the universe counteracted it the following day, and then we just went back to normal Friday. But I don't know what that was, but I just feel by reframing your thoughts, maybe you put out into the universe a positive light and it bounces back, maybe. I don't know, but I'd much rather reframe the way I think and try and see the positives, but try not to, put the blame on myself too much. And then also, sometimes no one's at fault. It's just maybe you're both having a bad day, or one of you's having a bad day. I'd much rather feel, okay, maybe they're having a bad day. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry that they felt they needed to pull up and take their anger out on me. But I'll take that. If it makes them feel a bit better, awesome, amazing. Maybe they might have maybe they might go home and be like, oh, I do feel a bit better after having to go at that person, but I do feel a bit bad that I did. Maybe I need to reframe the way I think. So, having a Tuesday night mentality, I think it's definitely helped me reframe the way I think. Not because on a Tuesday night I know that I'm almost halfway, which is a sense of achievement, which is halfway to Friday, which is, end of the week, 2 days off. It's more of the not Friday that I'm looking at, it's the Wednesday, which is weird because I know you're halfway. Well, you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve. No, but I'm aiming for Friday, but I get an achievement on the Wednesday, which is, almost like a little treat. So it's the feeling of almost halfway, which is almost finished. A sense of achievement, like, oh wow, I've made it this far. I may as well go the whole hog. So like I've said in previous episodes, it's like treading water, and in the sense of you go out into the water and to the point where your toes just leave the ground and you're treading. You're being productive, but you're just outside your comfort zone. and you're reaching your goals, but you may have to take a few step backs here and there. Something might go wrong. In my case, it's something doesn't print well, or an edit doesn't go well, or just I'm having a bad day and I'm creative block or something. There's so much that can go wrong in the art industry. I cannot tell you. I've found out the hard way this year of why can't I burn today? So I'll take the day off and I'll do admin, and then I'll just try and catch up with burning, in the sense of if it's a commission and I need to get it done by a certain date, I might burn on Saturday because I know that I don't feel a bit more pressure on a Monday to Friday. It's a weekend. I can relax. I don't need to get X amount done today. I just get whatever I need to get done today. But you keep treading and you get stronger and stronger, and you build to what you're working towards. You can get further out into the water or stay where you are because you're not able to go any further because you've reached your full potential. It's like a rocket. Monday, you launch. Full throttle. All the rocket, big engines. I don't know how a rocket. I don't know the parts of the rocket. Big engines, initial launch. It's the hardest part, but you do it. You go to work, or you start the business, or you start the project. Full on. Tuesday, you're still burning, still going, but you're preparing the engines for Wednesday. You get to Wednesday, new engines start. Still aiming for Friday, aren't you? But you feel a sense of achievement on the Wednesday because, we've launched, we've gone, we're up, we're ready. You just need to maintain those engines now. You need to maintain your velocity, I think it is. Yeah, I believe it is velocity. Maintain your velocity and keep going, keep burning to reach that Friday goal. So have a Tuesday night mentality, I think, because you can take that in life for everything. Going on a road trip. Granted, a road trip is supposed to be quite enjoyable, so you're not really sort of looking forward to the end. But you're aiming for Friday, you're looking at Friday, but you feel a sense of achievement on the Wednesday, the halfway mark. So I don't know how well this episode's going to flow. I've written so many notes and I keep looking at them, and I don't think that they're particularly that helpful because my brain just goes a million miles an hour. I'm listening to calming music to try and slow me down, but this is only the third episode of the podcast, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's helpful, and I hope people take my, not necessarily advice, it's just sort of how I experience life, and trying to put it into words is quite hard, but I hope that with every episode I can get a little bit better and the background gets a bit better. I'm trying my best with the lighting and sort of the angle of the camera, and I know that it's quite open at the moment. I'm still building the cabin itself and making it my home. So if you can stick with me, that'd be absolutely amazing. But I hope these episodes are helpful. If anybody got any questions, please feel free to comment, and I might do a Q&A episode if I get enough questions. But thanks for sticking around this long. I bid you good day. Wish you all the best. Cheers.